I've been a small business owner to begin with, and this experience of COVID-19 has just made it, just that whole lot harder to keep going. I guess the biggest challenge that we're experiencing at the moment is just how quickly everything's changing. So we find that we'll spend a couple of days coming up with some great ideas of things that we can do next, and what we find is like a couple of days are over, and that whole situation that we thought we were dealing with has changed so drastically that those plans we came up with are that little bit harder to actually put into place. What's changed for us obviously is that while we were allowed to keep going, we could have stayed open. We are a takeaway business, we don't really rely on seating here inside the cafe. We decided to close down while there was a lot of unknowns, and we certainly didn't know how safe it was for our staff and for our customers for us to stay open. I guess now that we have a bit of a clearer understanding of that, we'll look at reopening in a manner that we think kind of best keeps everyone safe. So much has changed. It's almost hard to remember what life was like before this period, but we certainly started to see that there was a bit of a need for people to have some services delivered directly to their houses. At the time, we were certainly dealing with issues of grocery unavailability and people not really having good access to food. So we certainly started doing produce boxes, grocery boxes, as well as cooked meals as well. I think that by and large, a lot of restaurants and cafes have responded in pretty similar ways. In terms of fruit and veg boxes, have been a pretty consistent offering. I think different places have gotten on board with providing produce in different ways as well. I think a lot of ground coffee, bread rolls, eggs. That's certainly been something that's been on offer. But we really thought that we've always seen ourselves as a provider of good food into people's lives. So we don't kind of see ourselves so much as selling product, but we like to think that we are actually providing a service that people need. The government stimulus packages certainly have been helpful in terms of being able to keep us afloat and also being able to keep our staff on board. I guess when we shut down, our biggest concern initially was how we took care of our staff and how we made sure that they stayed connected to us and employed. Thankfully for us, the JobKeeper program has allowed us to do that, and has meant that that's one worry that we don't really have to consider. In terms of the turnover of the business, I mean, we're taking a massive hit basically in terms of our turnover reducing. We've been lucky though that our landlords have really come to the party and really helped us out by providing a bit of a break on our rent at the moment, and we're reasonably confident that once we open back up, that there's a lot of real goodwill out in the community, and we're finding that a lot of our regular customers as well as new customers are actually making an effort to spend money with local businesses rather than just buying as they need. They're actually kind of making an effort to try and spend money to keep local businesses in business. When we thought about what else we could do that was different to our daily business model, we really wanted to keep in mind what we could do that was something that we might be able to continue once this was all over. So we've very much taken the view that if we want to start up what is essentially another business within our current business, it needs to be something that if we're going to invest into, it's going to be something that we can hold on to long term. So whilst this has been something that we've had to do essentially because of the situation, we hope that it's a part of our business that we can keep and come out of this crisis not just surviving, but actually stronger than the way that we went into it. I think taking up new opportunities has a lot of meanings, and sometimes, as is the case now, like we're dealing with a crisis, but I think the challenge is to see that crisis as an opportunity. So we consider this the same way. So right now we're responding to a crisis, but really what we're doing is trying to take up an opportunity. I think that what's going to happen over the next 6 months is potentially scary. We're likely, kind of to enter some sort of difficult economic period, and we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. I think one thing that we're looking at now is even if we do return to our old business model, we might need to relook at our menu and think about how we can provide some lower cost options to give our customers just a greater range of price points that they can shop at that might suit their current circumstances the best. So I guess my advice would be, as a business owner, I think the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to keep your business in a manner that gives you the best opportunity to respond to crisis or opportunity with the most flexibility you can.